Hey guys, Squatch for Loading here. Today we're going to get into part 2 of our single stage 223 load series, and in this video we're going to focus on sizing. So that's the operation we're going to do today. So the things that we need, obviously, one is our press. We need a shell holder for 223. We need, of course, our dirty range brass that we're going to pick up, and that's pretty much all I run in 223. So I like to do a full length size, so we're going to use our full length size RCBS full length sizing die. We're going to need to lube those, so we're going to go old school here. Our case lube from RCBS and our lube pad. So those are the items that we need to get everything done today. So I guess that's it. Let's jump into it. So for the 223, we are going to need a shell holder, and I have a set of RCBS shell holders here. So we're going to get the number 10. I'm going to try to stay organized here and keep everything together. Shell holder is simple. This is the number 10. We're going to raise the ram a bit and then go ahead and snap that into place. And again, I clock mine about the 7:30, 8 o'clock position because I'm a right-handed guy and I throw them in with my left hand. But that's pretty much it. Alright guys, so we're going to get this sizing die set up. And some homework for you guys. If you want to get a really heated dumpster fire going, get on the Facebook groups of the forums, start talking about which is better, neck sizing or full length sizing, or talk about how much cam over you need in your press. Those are surefire ways to make yourself very popular on the on the Facebook groups. But I'm going to show you how I set this up. And since I'm using once fired, I'm assuming once fired, range pickup brass. This is I've picked up over the course of several months at the ranges, and so I'm going to full length size this because it's a mix of different head stamps. So I'm wanting to get this down to a SAMI nominal for the first time that I use it, and particularly in my AR platforms, I size it down to SAMI nominal every time, and I don't have any issues. So a full length sizing die is what I like to do for your AR platform or your auto loading platform like a Mini 14, something like that. So this is what I like to do. So I'm going to show you how I set this up. So we're going to set up our sizing die here. This one does have the decapping pin still installed, and for me, I always decap first, but I leave this in here just in case I miss something. But a good habit to get into is go ahead and take your lock ring. I always take it right up to the top of the die. And I'm going to get a few threads started here. And then I'm going to go ahead and raise the ram. So to finish things up, I want to get my ram all the way up, top of the stroke, make sure my handle's all the way down. And I'm going to thread this die down until it touches the shell holder. So you want to make sure that you have a shell holder installed, the correct shell holder. And as you can see, I've got some engagement there on the shell holder. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting my lock ring down close to where I'm going to need it. I'm going to back that ram out a little bit. Give it about 1/8 of a turn. That's it. And what I'm wanting to do is I'm going to take all of the slop out of all the linkage, and I want to make sure that handle is going to, I'm going to pan you down here. I want to make sure this handle stays down. So you can see I've got a little bit of resistance, and I want to make sure that locks into place. So now what we're going to do is get this die buttoned up, and we're going to be ready to go. Alright, now we have the preload or cam over, whatever you want to call it, set on our die. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lock ring down and just get it to touch because I don't want that to back out anymore. And I've got a lubed case here, and I'm going to go ahead, put it in the shell holder, and run it up into the sizing die. Okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and lock my lock ring here with my wrench. And that looks pretty good. So we're going to call that die set up, and we're going to get to getting these sized. Alright, so in this series we are going to load up some 53 grain Hornady VMAX bullets. So I've got a box of 100 here. So we're going to be doing 2 load blocks, and I'm using the RCBS kind of universal load block here. So we're going to set up and we're going to size 2 load blocks of 50. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys with watching me do 100 rounds through this process, but I'm going to show you how I lube this with the RCBS lube and the lube pad. So we're going to start working through this load block. So we need to get them lubed up first. So one thing I want to note, guys, is, again, this is my method on how I do this when I'm running on a single stage. You may add or subtract different steps that I'm doing, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing and why. And one of the things that I like to talk about is using these load blocks, okay? What's nice about these, this is the universal one from RCBS. It's plastic. It's pretty cheap. I think they're less than $10. But what this does is this holds 50 rounds. I don't have to worry about counting those. I don't have to spend time counting these. I just fill them up and I know I have 50 rounds. The other nice thing is it presents the cartridges in a manner when I'm doing sizing, for example. I can look at my case necks. I can look for cracks or splits. I can look at my shoulders to make sure that there's no splits, cracks, dents. So this is a good tool to make sure that you're doing the inspections in each process. So let's get these lubed up and run through our sizing die. Alright, so here's a lube pad that I have. This one's fairly new. This is going to be representative of what you get in your master reloading kit from RCBS or Lyman or Hornady, whoever, and they're going to give you a sample bottle of lubricant. And this one I've been using a little bit. I just changed this pad out, but what you want to do is get your lube opened up, and you're going to go ahead, and what I usually do is just start putting, you know, several dots of lubricant around the pad, and ideally, you know, you'll have this saturated at some point, but this new pad isn't quite there yet. So once I get several dots of lube on there, I'm going to rub this lubricant into the pad, just like so. And then we're going to start lubing the cases up. Alright, so I got my pad all lubed up there, and I have my load block with 50 cartridges. Now at this point we have some options. We can either do one at a time like so, and what I like to do is keep them on one end. You know, try to always keep the shoulder and the case mount, or I'm sorry, the case neck. We don't need any lubricant on that. So we're going to rub it like so, get the body lubed up, and then I'm going to take and put the case mount just like so into the pad to get some lubricant on the inside of the neck. Alright, we're going to take our lubed case, put it in our shell holder, running it up into the die by pushing our handle down, making sure we get a full stroke with the handle, achieving that preload or cam over, removing it from the die, visually looking, and everything looks great. We'll put that back in the load block. Now again, I wanted to touch on an important thing that I think is important, and as I am loading, you can see I have 5 here, and I know that these have been through my sizing die because when I pull them from my sizing die, I put them back in the load block with the case mouths down this time. And the reason I do that is I've already inspected all of these when they're in the load blocks. I look for cracks, deformation in the shoulder, and so on. And now, after I've done my size, I'm going to look for any issues in the primer pockets, any issues in the body of the cartridge. So it's just a good habit that I'm in. Every process that I do, case mouth up, case mouth down, and so on. And then I know exactly where I am in this load block. So another thing, I showed you guys, you know, doing one at a time, but it's just as easy to grab, you know, 2, 3, 5, whatever, you know, you can pull off, lube them the same, and then, you know, do your case mouth so your expander ball exits freely from the die. So we're going to work through this load block, and then we're going to wrap things up for today. Okay, so we got our first load block finished up here. These have all been sized and lubed. So the next step is going to be trimming these to length. We're going to condition the primer pockets. We're going to do the ID and OD chamfer on the case mouth. And with that being said, that's going to generate some brass shavings. So one thing that I like to do is get this lubricant off of these cases because I don't need it there anymore. So there's a couple ways you can do this. Either wipe them off with a towel and maybe some rubbing alcohol or just something to cut the grease out. What I do is I'll throw these in my corncob media tumbler, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or if I forget, all night. But that'll get rid of all of that lubricant because we don't need to deal with that anymore. And that'll just make the rest of the processes a lot cleaner, and no risk of contamination, any brass shavings or anything like that into the cartridge or any of the subsequent processes. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm not going to bore you guys with that. You can figure out how to get that lube off if you want to. But, you know, if you guys like what you see, feel free, hit that subscribe button, get the bell with notifications. If you have any questions or comments, you can hit me up directly, squatchreloading@gmail.com. You can always find me on Facebook and Instagram at squatchreloading and over at the Reloaders Network. So until next time, guys, God bless.